good morning, everybody. Happy Friday to you. I'm Rob Evans. Welcome to Daybreak Plus. We're breaking down all the news you may have missed overnight and digging deep into what matters to you. And this morning, we're learning about the man police arrested after finding explosives at his South Austin home. That's the man right there. Take a look at your screen. It's not the first time that he's been in trouble with the law either. Here's KVUE's Quita Culpepper.
For local authorities, the name Stephen Aldrich is a familiar one. In 2015, he was arrested for possessing explosive devices after neighbors reported hearing fireworks going off inside his home.
He considered it to be just firecrackers and no big deal.
Then in 2018, Aldrich was seriously hurt while making explosives at a home on Newcastle Lane in Leander. A judge sentenced Aldrich to 6 years in prison. He was released early in 2022.
And he had, until yesterday, about 2 weeks to go on his parole for that offense.
On Tuesday, Austin police say they found a large amount of homemade explosives and chemicals in the South Austin home where Aldrich was living.
This was such a quantity and the volatility of the chemical consideration that we decided that the safest thing would be to do a controlled detonation inside the house so that we weren't moving this across the city of Austin, endangering anyone in a vehicle, pedestrians, or additional homes.
Neighbors were evacuated, and at 5 Wednesday afternoon, the bomb squad blew up the materials, causing heavy damage to the home and minor damage to a home next door. Now Aldrich is in jail again, marking his third arrest in 10 years.
That was Quita Culpepper there. Aldrich is in jail again in Travis County this morning. Chief Davis says he did have a parole officer who did check in on him. Not sure exactly how what happened ended up happening then. We'll continue to follow this case, though. And today, students at a Florida State University can return to campus to pick up their belongings they left behind. Yesterday, a gunman shot and killed 2 people on campus. Police are saying it could have been much worse, though. A witness says the gun eventually jammed. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has the story.
This morning, police are investigating why the stepson of a local sheriff's deputy allegedly opened fire at Florida State University, killing 2 people and wounding 6 others.
I can't believe that just happened next to me.
Police last night towed a red SUV from the campus in Tallahassee. Witnesses say 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner got out of the SUV yesterday, then opened fire near the Student Union building, first shooting a long gun, then grabbing a handgun.
This other boy looked really concerned too, and so we kind of start walking faster, and that's when I noticed him go in his car and pull out the handgun and then shoot that woman.
A music professor posted this image of a piano barricading a door.
Barricaded the door, hid in our corners. Myself and many others, of course, started immediately texting our families, our friends.
Police say they shot and wounded Eichner, and the handgun he allegedly used belonged to his stepmother, an 18-year veteran with the Leon County Sheriff's Office. ABC News also learning Eichner was at the center of a child custody dispute in 2015. Court documents say he was on medication for several health and mental issues at the time. The shooting at FSU comes during an especially sensitive time of the year. In Colorado, law enforcement warning of an increase in planned school attacks near the anniversary of the Columbine shooting on April 20th. Some students who fled the gunshots at FSU say they were also students at Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida in 2018 when a gunman killed 17 people.
Just seeing all these tragedies having an explanation, growing up and graduating high school, coming into college. It's really unfortunate.
Senator Rick Scott was asked, is enough being done to keep students safe?
We put together law enforcement, mental health counselors, educators. We had a historic bill. We have law enforcement in all of our public schools. We put money into harden our schools. We have mental health counselors in our schools. We have risk assessment. That's saved a lot of lives.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Well, the U.S. Agriculture Department has slashed more than $1 billion in funding for programs that support local food banks and help schools buy goods from local farmers. KVUE's Daniel Perot has a closer look at how these cuts are actually hurting some of the most vulnerable Texans.
Texas Food Bank. The USDA is ending programs the agency says are no longer in line with their priorities. The food bank is now scrambling for a solution.
We're spending about $1 million a month right now to help
canceled.
Those were pantry staples like vegetables, protein items like chicken and pork, and dairy products as well.
The food bank serves 93,000 families a week across a 21-county coverage area. Beth Corbett is the Vice President of Government Affairs and Advocacy for the food bank.
Neighbors who are accessing our services will see fewer options when they come to a food distribution or a food pantry.
The cuts come as grocery prices rise and demand for food assistance grows. The food insecurity rate in Texas is 16.9%, second highest in the nation and 5% higher than the national average.
We're serving more people now than we were at the height of the pandemic.
As state lawmakers iron out the state budget, the food bank is lobbying lawmakers to include funding to help provide meals in the summer.
Those aren't always an option for children in rural communities, so that summer EBT would be a game changer in helping us to reach more people.
As the impact of the federal cuts evolves, the food bank is doing what it can to navigate the uncertainty.
We're hopeful that food banks will be a key voice in the creation of potential new federal programs under this administration.
Corbett says if the cuts continue, there could be consequences.
We will continue to be as nimble as we can in the short term as we see what happens.
Now, with all the uncertainty, the food bank's relying more on events like the Austin Reggae Festival, which is taking place this weekend at Auditorium Shores. A portion of those proceeds benefit the food bank. And that event, by the way, has raised more than $1 million for the food bank over the past 10 years. It is now 7:08. Let's get a look at weather, traffic, and how it's going to be out there for those at the Reggae Fest. Grace.
Well, today is going to be quite dry. I will say if you're headed to Reggae Fest this afternoon, it's going to be pretty blustery out there, but also warm, so not too bad of a forecast. We're also anticipating some more rain to enter the forecast for this weekend. Of course, that may interrupt a couple of Easter plans, but we think mostly people will be good to go, so we'll time that out in just a second for you. Current temperatures across the area, 70 degrees to start off our Friday here in Austin, so very warm there. We're a little bit cooler out towards the hill country, but not by much. Only 66 in Johnson City and Blanco. It's already starting to be a bit breezy as you head out the door today. 21-mile-per-hour gusts in Austin, Georgetown at 24, and very breezy if you're headed up towards Waco in the next few minutes here. Wind speeds are expected to be elevated throughout the day and through this afternoon. Noon, 2 p.m., 4 p.m., all gusting near 30, maybe even up to 35 miles per hour. In addition to the wind, we're seeing very warm temperatures this afternoon, up to 90 degrees expected for the metro, and then give or take a couple of degrees around town. It's pretty much going to be warm everywhere. Now, shifting into this weekend, of course, we do have some rain chances on tap. Most of this rain is going to occur either early in the morning or late at night, so we do think those Easter plans are going to be pretty much good to go. But of course, we want you guys to have a way to get alerts. Don't cancel anything just yet. Just make sure you have a backup plan to get indoors if you do see some rain around town. So 3 a.m. on Saturday, that's when that first instance of rain gets out there in the hill country. Some hit or miss showers and thunderstorms can be expected for the first half of Saturday just out there in the hill country. You'll see that Austin is very, very dry for Saturday early in the afternoon. Now, a little bit later on in the afternoon, we have the potential for a few showers moving over the metro as well as over towards Bastrop or Lockhart, but most of us should be seeing dry conditions. Now, early Sunday, this is when that cold front really starts to move through our area. Ahead of the cold front, a few areas of spotty drizzle out there, and then that moves into the hill country around 5 a.m. and eventually to the I-35 corridor around 9 a.m. After that, by noon, we're only dealing with some scattered showers out there for your Easter Sunday. And then by 5 p.m., things should be good to go around dinner time or even a few hours before. We should see a lot of sunshine out there. Now, we are tracking the potential for a little bit of severe weather. Now, this is a low-end risk for the hill country as well as the I-35 corridor, levels 1 and 2 out of 5. So what we'll be watching for is the potential for a little bit of flooding flooding Saturday into Sunday again. And then also the potential for some large hail may be possible, as well as, of course, those heavy downpours. So we'll be watching for that as we head through the weekend. Make sure you have a way to get alerts, even though, like I said, this isn't expected to be a washout weekend. We just kind of have to be aware and looking towards the sky at certain times. Now, next week looking pretty good too. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have some additional chances for some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Of course, we'll get to that next week. We got to get through this weekend first. All right, and we also got to get through the traffic today. What's up, Hannah?
Oh yeah, happy Friday, y'all. We are kicking off a wonderful Easter weekend here in Austin, Texas. And oh my goodness, we've got a lot going on this weekend. But it's going to be a good one here in the capital city. And it's been pretty sleepy so far on the roads today. Taking a live look, I-35 at Old Torp. You can see smooth sailing there, but I will give you a heads up. Once again, that reggae festival kicks off at 3 p.m. today. So thousands of people heading to that downtown area. So you can expect extra congestion along South Lamar, Riverside, South Congress, all here out at Auditorium Shore. So should be a great time. And of course, they're benefiting the Central Texas Food Bank, which I love. Let's take a look. If you are coming in today, a little bit of that stop and go approaching Bluff Springs today, but not too bad. And then, of course, we are also anticipating a pretty busy weekend out at the Austin airport. People coming and going, of course, for this wonderful weekend, but looking really good if you happen to be heading out that way right now, moving in towards 183 right now and 71. Let's take a look. We had a crash in Pflugerville. That is cleared up, so looking really good along that 130 toll road, coming and going right now. There was a gas leak yesterday, and they actually still have that road closed today at Lakeline Boulevard, just north of Lakeline Mall. So working on that. Looks like a little bit of a slowdown on 183, but really not too bad today, like I said. So we can work with this, kind of gearing up for what's going to be a very, very busy weekend across the area. Let's go ahead and take a look out to the hill country. Good morning to you. Fingers crossed for no hail in that forecast. We need the rain. We don't like the hail. So let's hopefully for the best there. And then if you are traveling east today, good morning to you. LaGrange, Giddings, all looking pretty good. Bastrop today, heading out across the area. And of course, it's my Bluebonnet photo of the day. They are just precious little angels, and this was sent in from their mom. She gave us a note here saying, sending these in from Highway 21 in Lincoln, Texas. My kids love the Bluebonnets and are always asking to stop for pictures, and they are just darling, and that was sent in from Catherine Medak. So everyone have a wonderful and safe weekend. We'll see you back here on air in a little bit as well. Back to you, Rob.
I love those Bluebonnet pictures for sure, Hannah. Thank you. Well, the Trump administration is facing lawsuits from more than 100 international students nationwide who say they have had their student visas revoked or their legal status terminated. Now, the students could face deportation. UT system officials say 176 students across their campuses have been affected. Texas State, 2 cases, which includes Lamar and Sam Houston State. They've had 10 students impacted. Texas A&M says 38 students are affected. Immigration attorney Iris Albizi says that she's seeing more students worried about their visa status. She recommends they speak with their schools and get legal help. Take a listen.
So, just to consult with an immigration attorney to explore all kind of options. It might be because of their situation have changed since they entered the country, and they may have any other type of solution for their case or any other kind of way that they can apply that is different from the student visa.
Now, KVUE contacted federal agencies for answers, but we have not received specifics. The State Department spokesperson recently said, though, revocation reasons are, quote, personal and private. A student who has their visa revoked is usually given just 10 days to leave the country voluntarily. KVUE is partnering with Honor Flight Austin, recognizing our nation's heroes with special trips to Washington, D.C. to honor their service. And this morning, we want to introduce you to a retired airman who saved lives during his service in Vietnam. Here's KVUE's Bob Buckaloo.
For retired Air Force Colonel Jack Crownover, it's been a long journey from the battlefields of Vietnam to this sunny day at Lake Travis High School. 55 years since he flew transport planes during the war in Southeast Asia.
We're going to go over in here, right through this door here.
Today, he faces high school seniors who will be interviewing him for a class writing project.
What made you decide to go into the military? What made you decide the branch you went to?
It was pretty easy for me because I came from an Air Force family. My father was a B-17 pilot during World War II. And then he and I and my father-in-law all went to Vietnam at the exact same time, and we served together.
Colonel Crownover, who asked us to call him Jack, was barely older than these kids when he learned to fly for the Air Force. He landed in Vietnam during the war years, piloting those big C-130 transport planes, often landing on dirt roads in order to help save the lives of our wounded soldiers.
I brought out a lot of young people who were the age of my grandchildren today, and I can get emotional over that. It's so hard to find them.
Jack recently visited the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C. He was among a group of Central Texas veterans who were on an honor flight. That's an organization that thanks our veterans by bringing them to our nation's capital to see the memorials and monuments that honor their service. Veterans from the Vietnam War served in a polarized time in American history. The war was unpopular. But nearly 60 years later, Jack says his thoughts about those years have shifted.
That I thought we were fighting for a good thing, and in many ways I still believe that. But I began to understand that what they were fighting for was different than what we were fighting for, depending on whether and it wasn't clear to me whether it made any difference whether you were North or South. They were fighting to be Vietnamese.
Jack served 26 years in the military, rising through the ranks to become the commander of a U.S. Air Force base. Today, he works with organizations that help veterans who are dealing with PTSD.
Nice to meet you.
And he says he loves going back to school to share the stories of his service to America with a new generation. Bob Buckaloo, KVUE News.
Oh, Bob, thank you very much for that story. If you would like to support Honor Flight and their mission to recognize our veterans with trips to D.C., use your phone's camera to scan the QR code on the screen. And if you want to see other Honor Flight coverage, you can just head to KVUE.com/honorflight. Well, the FIFA World Cup is just 1 year away, a little over a year, and North Texas is going to be the biggest part of it. A major role hosting 9 matches, including a semifinal. But one Dallas man has his own large audience to play for. Sean Giggy has his story.
I think ultimately it still adds to the composition.
With 4 Grammy Awards to his name, music producer and engineer Trey Nagella has heard some amazing things.
All that matters is whether it sounds good and whether people like it.
But when he was recently asked about a new project, he couldn't believe his ears.
Yeah, it's a little bit intimidating at first. Like, why are you asking me to do this? Who am I to do this?
The request? What does Dallas sound like?
Yeah, that's great.
That question came from FIFA. Dallas will host 9 matches during next year's FIFA World Cup, more than any other city. And for the first time ever, FIFA asked all 16 host cities to put their spin on the FIFA theme song. Over the course of a few months, Trey worked from his office here at Luminous Sound Studios in Dallas, creating the city's sonic ID. For Trey, it was a chance to give Dallas a musical identity.
People outside of Dallas, I think, will immediately think of country music.
And there is plenty of twang. But Trey says Dallas culture runs deeper.
Dallas also has a large hip-hop community, an urban scene. We're also just a major metropolitan city, so I wanted to incorporate just sounds of popular culture.
Of course, he also included an homage to the game. Subtle moments that bring it all together.
There's breathing happening in the bridge as a percussion element. Most people aren't going to pick that out. I hope that when people hear the track and they come visit the city, they get a sense of the excitement and all the people and the energy that's here.
Coming from a guy who knows how to win big, energy might be what propels one fan base, one team to the top.
You'll notice there's breathing.
But who?
I'm a music expert, not a sports expert, so I can't really speak to that, but I will say I hope all the matches that get put on in Dallas, I hope that the city puts on a great show for the world to see.
Gotta love the sound of that.
Pump it up. Get me some energy going.
In Dallas, I'm Sean Giggy.
Well, it's a big weekend for Star Wars fans of all ages. The Star Wars celebration underway in Japan. The franchise has big plans for its future. Danny New has more on the announcements and the cameos so far.
Star Wars Celebration! This weekend marks the return of Star Wars Celebration, an event galactically beloved by nerds. Not that I know any.
It's kind of crazy how handsome we look right now.
I think we look great, dude.
Justin Busquet here is a lifelong fan who hosts the Canon Collector YouTube channel on all things Star Wars, which is, of course, owned by our parent company, Disney. As Justin will tell you, every few years when this 3-day festival comes around, Force users around the globe can sense that exciting Star Wars news and cameos are coming.
This is where the fun begins.
Like the return of Hayden Christensen, a.k.a. Anakin Skywalker, back in 2022.
That was like one of the most monumental events in Star Wars history.
This year's celebration is back in Japan for the first time since 2008, and we've already had this big cameo on day one. Hello there, Master Ken Obi. Barbie star Ryan Gosling, alongside Deadpool and Wolverine director Sean Levy, surprising fans to confirm an upcoming May 2027 release date for their new film, Star Wars Starfighter. Meanwhile, Jedis and Sith Lords alike can also look forward to an appearance from Andor actor Diego Luna, ahead of Season 2's premiere on Disney Plus this Tuesday. And let's not forget what the kids are probably most excited for, updates about Grogu, aka Baby Yoda, making his first appearance on the big screen in The Mandalorian and Grogu.
It's a real Grogu.
As you can see, Grogu was kind enough to stop by, hanging out with series creator Jon Favreau and Mando himself, Pedro Pascal. Look at those little hands. And that galactic adventure set for release when, Baby Yoda? Don't get shy. Tell them. That's right, May of 2026, and the Ryan Gosling Star Wars movies for May of 2027, when you'll be 52 years old. In New York for ABC News, I'm Master Danny New.
That's awesome. We all need a baby Yoda Grogu. I didn't know it was his name, but pretty cool. 2 more years, the new Star Wars movie coming out. Can't wait to see that. All right, we leave you this morning with something else to talk about. Check out, if you thought Baby Yoda was cute, look at this little guy. We're getting our first look at a pygmy falcon from the San Antonio Zoo, hatching last month. Why is there a quarter there? Because this pygmy weighs about the same as a quarter. Imagine that. You see here the zoo posted on social media, proud parents Squiggy and Laverne both hatched at San Diego Zoo, and now they've started their own little dynasty at the San Antonio Zoo. The baby's just healthy, just fine, and gonna grow up to be a big, for a pygmy anyway, bird. That's it for Daybreak Plus. Let us know what you want to talk about. Message us at 512-459-9442. You can also message me on social media at Rob Evans TV on Insta, Facebook, or X. And stick around because Daybreak continues right here on KVUE Plus. Goodbye, everybody.